All right, what's up, fam? It's your favorite Degens from Exit Liquidity. Today we're going to be reacting to the crypto space's favorite detective, Coffeezilla. We got a video for you today about the FBI arresting 3 people based off of a tweet from Cobie. So let's get into it.
Yeah, man, we haven't watched this at all. So let's click the play and just jump right into it.
Title alone.
3 guys were arrested today because of a single tweet, which exposed them for insider trading. But before we interview the man responsible for all this chaos, let me just say, this might be the single and only positive use of Twitter ever. Here I thought it was a place for mentally ill people like myself to seek attention and validation, but apparently you can also get people arrested, which is pretty cool, because the Department of Justice and FBI link a tweet in their indictment as if it was the thing that got the Scooby-Doo gang together. Now, as happy as I am that the Bluebird solved the case, I have to say it feels a bit strange that the FBI is monitoring Twitter to catch actual criminals, and it sort of begs the question, what's the real future of police work? I'm sure a lot of people join up thinking they're going to be raiding houses, but maybe the future is you're raiding Minecraft houses. Maybe you build your career by busting a metaverse mafia. I mean, I guess on the one hand, it's a good sign they're paying attention to what's going on out there. On the other hand, it turns out when you look into this that the insider trading going on was actually pretty well known about. And that's why I brought on the man responsible for all of this, Cobie. He's a podcaster, famous crypto guy, but most importantly, he's the Twitter tweeter who got these guys locked up. And I was hoping he could sort of get me to the bottom of this, help me figure out how he found out about it. But the first thing he told me was actually that he was a bit disappointed in how things were being handled and thought that maybe people were focusing on the wrong issue. How's it going? How are you? Your tweet got someone arrested. I mean, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't feel great about that because the person I was criticizing is not the person that got arrested. The person that got arrested, it seems like collateral damage. I was criticizing the institution that the person that got arrested worked for. And I know the person that got arrested was doing something very silly and criminal and illegal. But yeah, I guess that is what happened. They got arrested.
Oh, that was the worst time to pause it. So I guess for some context, he tweeted out about the insider trading at Coinbase, but his tweets were essentially about how poorly run, oh man, I swear it again, how poorly run Coinbase is as an institution. And now he inadvertently got somebody arrested, and that wasn't the intention of him. I don't know. How do you feel? You get somebody arrested based on a tweet. How do you feel?
That would be a weird thing. Like anything I do, especially on Twitter and let alone the internet, get someone arrested. But like, I think Coffee brings up a good point too. Like there's definitely, I mean, we already know that, you know, the 3-letter agencies are all over Twitter and the internet already digging and, you know, building profiles on everybody and everything. But like the idea of actually going into like raiding Minecraft houses or raiding, you know, Discord servers or anything like that is probably already happening to an extent. I mean, I guarantee you it's happening because there's all kinds of weird stuff happening on the internet, but like it's probably going to be more common, if not already pretty common. Like that's crazy to me. It makes me think twice about writing stupid stuff on the internet, but I know I'm still going to do it because I'm dumb, but
Just don't do stupid stuff. Don't get arrested. I don't know. It seems simple to me.
fair enough.
Well, I mean, it's also, you know, most stuff on the internet has some kind of traceability depending on your level of competence in figuring that out, right? Like even not all VPNs are even safe from, you know, they sit on the exit points and figure out the traffic and whatnot. But like now you tie in like blockchain stuff on top of this where it's all fully immutable and completely transparent. And I mean, we see it all the time. Like people just get linked back because I don't know what it is about it. They just think like nobody will ever connect the dots.
I do find it funny too that like Cobie's like, oh, like Coinbase isn't in trouble, but this person is like, he's like, I want Coinbase. Oh, dang it, I cussed you. I want to screw Coinbase over, like not these people.
But I mean, at the end of the day, though, is it Coinbase's fault or is it these people's fault? Like it takes an individual to do this, no?
I think the overarching thing that he's been going after, and maybe they'll get into it in this video again, I haven't seen it, is just that like Coinbase for so long was Bitcoin, ETH Classic, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. That was the other one. Yeah, it was just like 5 coins, and them adding a coin in every once in a while was like it was a very big deal. Like, you're getting listed on Coinbase, you made it, right? And at some point, they just started adding them more and more and more to the list of like hundreds of these shit coins. And as we all know, there's maybe a dozen relevant cryptocurrencies, depending on how what your criteria for a good crypto is. And it just begs the question of like, this is now a publicly traded company. Like, why even bought like it? I guess at the end of the day, it's all about trading volume, right? They want to just take fees on as many different pairs as possible and just be able to, but like, there's just so much shit on there. And I guess every time they just add one, it just gives the opportunity for every Coinbase employee that is privy to that information to just load up. And the second they hit go live, dump. So.
Makes sense.
But I mean, isn't that like if you were to base it off of like a company, like people within a company know like an acquisitions company coming or something like that. So it's like, couldn't that be wouldn't that be like the same format? It's just
typically
people
when
wouldn't
you
act on it.
Typically, when you work for a company that you're owned or paid in shares for, you have specific periods where you can sell. Correct? Like that's the thing. Like you can't just sell on the open market.
But also, I mean, you can still.
You have
nothing's going to stop you from telling your brother, sister, friend, load up. So
no,
yeah, it happens.
I guess that's my point. So. It's just it kind of comes down to the individual and the expectation of them not acting on it at the end of the day, or are we saying that they've just made it so easy and that there's not a ton of, I guess I don't know.
Well, 2 things. It doesn't sound like there's a ton of internal insight into this, right? Like I don't think that they're probably not doing a good job of monitoring which employees are getting access to this information. For all intents and purposes, it sounds like Coinbase is just a shit show. And maybe this is a reflection of their stock price right now, despite the fact that crypto is going back up. Coinbase is not. But the second thing is too, there's this big it's not really a misconception, but crypto typically not treated as a security, NFTs as well, right? And by some definitions, insider trading has to do with securities. And I think people have wrongfully thought that, not a security, therefore I can do it. It happens in, sneakers all the time and stuff like that. So like, why not NFTs? And then why not crypto? And now the SEC, the Department of Justice, is now taking these stances of like, fuck it, I don't care if it's a security or not. We're making examples of people, so do it at your own risk, I guess, is what I think at this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of a matter of time before them cracking the hammer, but I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, let's keep watching the video and see where it goes.
It seemed like from my conversation with him, Cobie was more upset at the institution Coinbase where this happened than at the front runner themselves. This is despite Coinbase's CEO coming out today saying that they were part of the reason that this guy got arrested, they cooperated with the feds, etc. But Cobie doesn't see it this way. Coinbase, at least for a long time, hasn't been the solution. They've been the problem.
Coinbase has had listings front-running issues for a while. Originally, they only listed like Bitcoin, and they had this policy that they were only going to list like the best of the best. And then as time passed and we got to like the last couple of years and meme stocks became a thing, and obviously they went public, they started losing market share. So they sort of changed their policy and started listing like real garbage. But at the same time, they started having a lot of issues around people buying the garbage they were listing beforehand.
Yeah, and I listened to Cobie's podcast Up Only a lot. And so like that is something he has absolutely talked about. So I should say that despite the fact that I haven't seen this, like that is something that he has talked in depth about.
So people were making money on Coinbase front running these trades for years. They would just find out whatever Coinbase was going to list, buy it up before it listed, and sell it immediately after. In fact, it turns out it was such a problem that Coinbase tried to address this issue at the time, but with no success.
Then they published this blog post about how they're going to change all their listing processes so that this stuff cannot happen in the future and they can get better controls around it. And then at the very next listing, every single coin got front run once again. And I'm in a little group of like crypto people who like look at interesting blockchain stuff, and someone like sent this Etherscan link and said, hey, has anyone looked into this? I think these things are going to get listed on Coinbase because they all got bought again by a person who front run success.
Do whales refer to themselves as whales? Like, if you're in a group chat with your boys and you know you all got big bags, you're like, we're the whales? Or is that just like
I'm sure there's like
us DJs?
I don't know. There's no way there's not some like acknowledgement to it, but there's got to be. But yeah, maybe not.
And what's like the threshold for whale? Like, there's got to be like the smallest whale in there. Like, you know, like
like if somebody has a bad trading day, they don't now meet the threshold. You're like, sorry, man.
Yeah, gotta go. Also, like,
you're not
are
there
you a whale
anymore.
in a certain coin, meaning you're holding billions of that coin, or are you a whale in terms of USD? You know, like there's different requirements probably also. But dude, the blockchain doesn't lie. Like the fact that like that is actually crazy. Like the fact that like these wallets are being tracked, people know that they're Coinbase insiders, and like they're still doing it. Like, what idiots?
And the technology that people have developed, the algorithms, the tracing processes that people have come to kind of visualize and monitor the blockchains are getting very sophisticated now too, right? Like,
dude, it's so easy. There's a few websites, I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. I haven't used it in a while, but it's literally a wallet tracker. You literally put in the address and it shows you all the transactions with all like the wallets, like the frequency. Like, so if like you, especially if you're like interacting with like Coinbase wallets, like frequently, like, yeah, like it's so easy to track. It's so easy to see and trace.
Successfully last time. Has anyone looked into, does anyone know what any of these are? Some of them seem like really, really garbage. I think one of them was called The Food or something. I looked at that link. I waited for the coins to get added. About 80% of the ones that were bought on this day were added. So then I tweeted the screenshot of everything he'd purchased and the blog post like a few weeks ago saying we're tightening up our controls, just to say like Coinbase is clearly incompetent at these issues. They're unable to stop it. No, they've just done this whole song and dance about how much they're going to improve the ecosystem and how much they care about like getting these things right. And the very next coin listing has been front run.
Wow. This whole case contradicts Coinbase, who claims that they were actively monitoring for illegal activity. But honestly, from the looks of it, it looks like the only thing they were monitoring was Twitter, because ultimately they didn't launch this investigation until after someone had proved it on the blockchain. And it's probably time we talk about this investigation and the main guy arrested in this case. His name was Ashan Wahi, and he was an employee at Coinbase who was on the team responsible for listing the new crypto tokens on the exchange. He insider traded by buying the coins he knew they would be listing in a bit, and then after the price pumped, he'd profit by selling them, which is obviously illegal and market manipulation. And the only reason that there are 3 guys listed in this indictment and 3 guys who got arrested is because the employee decided that he wanted his brother and friend in on the scam. He wanted to share the wealth.
Perfect.
And share a jail.
You should have gotten OpenSea Nate in on this, and they could have just had, you know.
Well, I mean, if you're staring down the barrel of a jail sentence, I hope he did better than OpenSea Nate, because that to me is actually just tough.
Yeah.
Right? Like the guy, like he still did it. I'm not saying that it was okay to do it, but wasn't at the end of the day he made like 20 ETH?
Yeah, he
like
didn't make that much.
Was
he made
it
like
$50,000
or something.
It was like sub 6 figures. It was guaranteed less than his salary at OpenSea, and the fact that OpenSea eventually is, you would assume, is trying to go public, and the fact that he would be a pretty high ranking and early employee of OpenSea, like his share value of that was potentially worth tens or maybe hundreds of millions of dollars.
Maybe he was just
depending
trying to
on
scoop some
what that
cream.
company
Like he just
is
wanted
worth.
to take the cream off the top, not even like try to make like life-changing money, just like a little so no one notices.
Just like vacation money.
Yeah, vacation money.
Yeah. Just like a weekend in the Maldives.
What also
or
blows my
something.
mind is like this guy works for Coinbase. He's crypto native. He's in the space. He knows there are ways to, again, I'm not encouraging. I'm not saying you should do this, or I'm not saying you shouldn't. Whatever you do with your coins and your crypto is up to you, but there's ways to tumble your coins and make it less obvious and make it more hidden. And the fact that like this guy probably knows about these wallets or these companies or these ways, like, and he still like got caught, like, amateur hour. Not saying it's okay, but like he could have been a little more sneaky about it, like, or a lot more sneaky.
Maybe it was just back to what R2 said, was he just had this, like, they view the issue here is with securities and it's not technically a security. So maybe he was just kind of like, YOLO.
True.
Just gonna go for it.
Also,
yeah, I mean, the only thing I will say counter to my own point is that he does work for a company that literally had just made a statement the day before about,
that's
we're going to be
the criticism on that from Coffee, like, oh, Coinbase is doing this, like they know about it. It's like there's like one, like obviously you can't control every single employee that works in your company, and then like two, like you might know about it, but obviously it's going to take some more like legal channels than just like, hey man, stop that. Like you can tell them to stop that, but again, you cannot control people. So like maybe they were like legally handling it, and like obviously usually when there's a lawsuit happening, you can't publicly talk about it or disclose. I don't think they were like waiting to get caught on Twitter or something like that, personally anyway.
Maybe this actually just speaks to how incompetent Coinbase is, that they can't even hire employees that understand that you could do things with that money. Again, not encouraging it, as you said, but there are ways.
True.
Ironically, he probably cashed it out through his fucking Coinbase.
Yeah, you can't
account.
roll that one out. Yeah, fair enough.
All right, I'm gonna back this up a couple seconds because I missed what he was saying. Then we'll try and finish her off
and share a jail cell, I guess. In total, they allegedly made $1.5 million, which honestly are rookie numbers. Let's be real, guys. You got to pump those up. I mean, they're going to go to jail, and guys are absolutely going to be laughing at them. Like, you went to jail for $1.5 million in fraud. Like, do you need a baby bottle to go with your itsy bitsy fraud? This is sort of why I find myself thinking that Cobie's sort of right here, that maybe the most interesting part of this case is not the actual criminals, but the system that allowed this to even happen.
I don't think a guy stealing $1.5 million over the course of 18 months is even the interesting part of the story. The interesting part of the story is for 18 months, an institution had this guy in charge of like coin listing stuff, was unable to identify that he was just like stealing from people by front running. And then anonymous users on like the internet can find out about it, or I can tweet about it. And then all of a sudden there's an investigation into it. I just don't understand what processes they have in place for that to be how that works.
Now, to that very important question, what processes are in place? I think Cobie's forgetting about the most important process of all that clearly they have abided by, which is one that's even trusted by the FBI. You check Twitter. Although I don't want to just dunk on the feds and Coinbase here, because it does seem like they did a pretty good job investigating and arresting the guy.
I mean, I highly doubt they started an investigation just based off a tweet. I guarantee you there's already something going on, and they found this tweet that just helped them because it linked to wallets and all that fun stuff, or confirmed that they had the correct wallets. Like there's like an investigation just doesn't happen off of one tweet. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe I'm being naive, but I doubt that.
I think the point is that this was happening for 18 months, and that if it was going to happen, it should have happened.
Again, I mean, I feel like everyone just like, oh, we knew about it, therefore, the FBI or government or whoever should have done something. It's like legal channels are slow, and legal channels you can't just be like, okay, you're in jail now because I caught you on a tweet. Like there's so much more, and you still have to prove it. You still have to have all the evidence in the court of law, or the judge goes, yeah, this is undeniable, or the jury, whoever. So it's like, it's not just like, just because bad people are doing bad things doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get jail time and or get caught or thrown into jail just because like everyone knows it. There's a process behind it, and a lot of people forget that. Like that's how bad people get off too, because they can't prove things even though everyone knows they did it.
And I think the big takeaway here is, if you're going to fraud people, make sure it's not a small number like 1.5 mil. Make sure you make it worth it. Something like, 10 plus mil. I'm just obviously,
for all we know,
that's your
I just feel like, why are we acting like
dirty will risk it all? Dirty
Yeah,
Florida
I
prison
don't
over
know.
10
It's
mil,
just
but
like
not
one point-
1.5. We've
There's a
set the
chance that
line.
this dude's here on an H-1B and his family's back in some developing nation. So that could actually be a lot of money.
I'm being sarcastic. I don't know why they're pretending that 1.5 mil is like a small amount of money. Like, I get it. It's not like
It's not
the
runaway money.
Axie
but,
hack,
like,
but it's like,
yeah,
it's like, come on. Like, I mean, if
Well, okay, so let's think about it in this light. How much do you think this guy gets
a
paid?
couple
probably
100,000.
not 1.5 mil over 18 months to list coins on a,
But a couple
Yeah.
100,000, and he certainly has some vesting options in
It's-
Coinbase, which aren't doing super
It's
hot
not
right
unrealistic. The dude's making anywhere between $250,000 to $500,000 annually, like pre-taxes.
now. I wonder about that just because I know like devs, like programmers, coders, like engineers and stuff like that will do that. But like, is he just
That's a
responsible
good
for
point.
like
Yeah,
the
you're right.
social
I
element?
don't know what
of
his
it,
actual
right? Like,
job.
regardless, I would be willing to bet it's no less than like
I'll give you that one.
120K.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Like I don't think anybody in that company is making less than 120K. That's just how tech companies just end up, paying people.
Yeah.
The fact that he's probably facing upwards of 20 years in prison, because these are typically where the sentences end up lying when you hear about the insider trading, wire fraud, et cetera, et cetera. They typically come with these like around 20-year penalties. I don't think if I had a chance that of like an 80% chance to make off with $1.5 million, I don't think I would risk it versus the downside of 20
I
years.
mean,
in
people
prison.
rob banks at gunpoint for like 30K.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I just feel like,
But those are people that are oftentimes desperate.
Mhm.
This guy's making salary.
True. He's not hurting.
maybe he's just trying to be discreet.
I mean,
but
if he lives in San Francisco, maybe he is. Yeah, no,
I don't
gotcha.
know.
So I agree with the point that the $1.5 million isn't a lot of money for the Department of Justice or the SEC to start going after, because I think we all can agree that there's bigger fish to fry, right? Like there's people that are doing that every single day in an hour. Like this shit happens on Wall Street all the time, no doubt about it. I think what happens is when somebody as high profile as Cobie, who not only has a huge following, I think it's 750,000 people right now, but also a very, very engaged following. Like he's not the kind of person that has 750,000 followers, puts out a tweet, and then gets like, 200 retweets. I mean, these things go parabolic every time he says something because people really, really pay attention. Part of me just believes that this is the FBI, the SEC, whatever three-letter names are involved, saving face, because now all of a sudden people care about that specific instance, and now they have to do something, because if they don't, there's a huge audience of people that are like, what are they doing? What are we even doing here? Like, and then I was just like, fuck, I guess we have to chase this $1.5 million down now.
Yeah.
Or do they care about that? Do they care to save face? Like I think on some level
They could also just be, trying to pick slam dunks so then they can start building credibility, or it could kind of lean towards, or not lean towards, but add to like the coming regulations or whatever they're going to try to do. Like, oh, here's this example and we prosecuted and we found it. We did the research. There's got to be more. Therefore,
set a precedent.
Just rolling the snowball.
When was the tweet posted and when were they arrested? Do we know that?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I was trying to find the tweet. He does tweet often sometimes, so it was sometime in the last.
They for sure
a little bit later than
were
that.
already
Time
on
flies.
this then.
That's what
that
I'm saying,
turnaround.
yeah.
That turnaround is. They probably were like, well, it's out now. We should probably act on it. But you don't form a case enough to arrest 3 people based off one tweet within a week. I feel like that's.
Oh, okay.
But if the evidence
I
has
found
just
it.
been
It was
plopped
back
down
in
in front
April.
of you.
So that's not.
Oh, was it that long ago? I remember him
18
tweeting
months.
that, but like, wow.
So that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, again, they had the case was going, the case was developing. The tweet helped them. It proved their point, or perspective without or without any doubt. They probably got some extra information from them, and they got the addresses, they got what they needed. That either confirming what they already had or knew, or it gave them extra. So there's
So let me ask you this then. This obviously has some implications to Coinbase's stock price, right? Like whenever a federal agency is scrutinizing you, coming after your employees, whenever big name people are criticizing you for incompetence in this sense, there's some real negative value to your company in terms of that, right? Again, we talked about Coinbase's stock going down. Can you pull up what their stock price is right now versus like maybe 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And you know, it is going down despite crypto going back up. And as we've seen in the past, despite what's going on in the stock markets, they are often more correlated to crypto than the other, you know, companies. MicroStrategy is a great, for instance, of that too. Like it lives and dies by Bitcoin price.
So funny enough, the stock's actually up from 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Is it?
So,
well,
but
okay.
A week ago, it's down.
How much? Like, are we talking like 5%? Because crypto's gone up 20-25%.
$53.42 now. It's at 61.
Okay, so it's it's been about 15-16% somewhere.
So
there.
yeah, it didn't affect us much, but
why do they not pay somebody $500,000 a year to just look for this shit? Because anybody can find it. Is it just one of those things that it's like power in numbers? There's so many internet detectives out there that eventually somebody finds it and passes it along? Or could this be something that they should have a team that is dedicated to doing keeping an eye on the known wallets of their own employees to save this shit from happening?
I mean,
I think that they just caught the people that weren't smart about it, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly,
and there's probably way more Coinbase.
Yeah, and that's the thing. How much more of this is happening?
Way smarter than
Dirty. That's a great point. Like, do we believe that this is the only person in Coinbase that's doing this? Because you're right. It's absolutely
especially because like if he told what was his brother and friend or something, I'm sure that they have friends.
There's more.
And
absolutely
everybody wants to be the guy with the hot alpha and gets have their friends get the big bags and stuff. It feels good. So this trickles down. I just think they just found the 3 people that weren't the smart about it and
low
were
hanging fruit. Yeah,
either the 3 they could prove or the 3 that have been caught so far. Like that's honestly what it comes down to.
I wouldn't be surprised if Coinbase was sweeping some of that under the rug too when they can find it.
Yeah, you don't want to upset those investors.
Like, hey, bro, come talk to me in this room for a second. Like, chill out, There's a minute left in this video. You want to just finish it off?
After they found out what was happening. I'm talking about the main guy, Wahi, because according to the indictment, Coinbase was supposed to interrogate him when he suddenly decided to flee the country. He told them that he had a medical emergency involving his father. Wahi then purchased an airline ticket due to board only 11 hours later to flee to India, and somehow they caught him. I mean, despite almost no warning beforehand, they arrested him before he left the country. So bravo to that. That's pretty awesome that they were able to do that. But I also hope we're not learning the wrong lessons here, where we just punish a few guys for crimes that have been going on for years only after someone tweets about it. I mean, what's next? Are we going to make some TikTok deputies, some Instagram enforcers? I guess I get the irony that I'm the internet detective here saying that, but I do ultimately think there probably should be a division between influencers and law enforcement. I don't think those worlds should collide very often, but every now and then it does.
Dude, there's a ton. I mean, he's wrong. There's a ton of stuff where that world should absolutely collide on. I mean, like, just thinking of influencers, like, there's so many little kids on the internet now, especially on TikTok and all that. Like, absolutely, those worlds should collide. Like, aside from that, like, if I'm not mistaken, Coinbase is located in San Francisco. Unless this guy was remote somewhere else in the country, like, amateur move. Like, you're a few hours away from the Mexico border. Like, go down to Mexico, man. Like, get out of the country as fast as you can.
So now we're shifting this into how to flee the country.
Again,
properly.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
I don't condone it.
You don't even need your ID if you go through San Diego.
So true. Yeah, I don't condone it. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, like, come on. Like,
I think towards the end of the video, I actually started to change my mind more towards what Drip was saying earlier, was that, like, this was probably already going on. You know when you worked at a job and you had a boss, they're always they're telling you what to do, they're micromanaging. You were in the middle of one task and in the back of your mind, like, I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to go do this. And then your boss comes around the corner about 2 minutes before you start to do that other job. And he's like, hey, why isn't this done? You're like, I was about to do that. But now that you just said it, like, it makes it seem like I wasn't going to do it because
that's where I'm at.
It might have just been perfect timing that Cobie put this out, and they're like, fuck, man, like, we were about to drop the bomb, and then he does it first,
I have to agree with that. Sorry to cut you off, but the confidence in Coffeezilla of being like, they only acted on this because of the tweet, as I think is extremely poor take. Because it's just, that's not how this works. Like, I'm sure that it might have had some influence or maybe kicked him in the butt, like, to get going on it. But like, it's like, to your point, like, if I don't know.
I think it's a good take for a YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for content,
and that's zero disrespect. Yeah, it's zero disrespect to Coffeezilla, because whenever you're making one of these things, you typically just pick a side and you got to roll with it. Because if you're just flip flopping in the middle, like I've done throughout this whole episode, it's not very conclusive. So like I see the kind of angle that he was taking and running with it. But yeah, I mean, as the video went on, I think I'm more coming to the agreement with Drip, and I mean, you said this same thing, Dirty, that this was likely already.
I mean, confirmed, dude. The dude was trying to run away to India. Like, again, I guess that doesn't prove he's not a citizen or not. But yeah, if he's here on an H-1B visa, like, there's definitely a little more, loopholes in litigation. They got to make sure it's all buttoned up nicely.
And he might have very well been on a watch list of like, hey, if this guy buys a flight out of here, like, he gets picked up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That might not have been in the last second. Like, he could have bought that ticket and they're like, yeah, let's go to the airport now.
Oh yeah. Like, he was 100. Like, they were definitely waiting for him to run. Like, they were at the airport waiting for him. They had his information. Like, again, Mexico, but
next time.
Next time. Yeah.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Who's the biggest winner out of this?
Whoever made it to India.
I'm gonna go with FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried's baby.
My biggest winner is actually Coffee, because he's getting those clicks. He's getting paid.
Yeah, good video though. Like, it does a good job of like breaking it down. Just enough information from Cobie. Very fascinating person too, by the way. If you guys don't listen to him on a regular basis, I highly recommend it, because he's a savant. But yeah, Dirty, what's your takeaway from this?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I think Coffee, like Drip said, is kind of the ultimate winner here for those clicks. But I definitely love hearing Cobie talk and learning a bit from him. I just think there's a bit more that goes beyond this. But for the sake of a video, like, you're right. Got to pick a side. So, yeah.
Drip, take us out of here.
I don't even know how to take us out of here. I'm still like thinking about the video, but yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. Hopefully it didn't drag on too long, but there's so much to unpack in this video. If you want more reaction videos, definitely let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. We got plenty more content coming out. We have the weekly newsletter now. Definitely check that out. Sign up. We only can get so much into one episode, so not this obviously, but each week we do it. And if you want more, we got the digestible newsletter. Definitely sign up for that. Get some more of that, and we'll see you next time.
Dude, I just put you on the spot. That was a great outro.
Yeah.
Peace.